Hello, 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 hello. How are you guys doing? This is Shelly LJ, and you are on the way. I know you're thinking, I just saw her, and you did, because I was on with Amazing Alice. And now we are on again, and we have today a very special person and a very special guest that I wanted to introduce to you guys. We've had him on our show before at the beginning of the year when we had the roundtable, the COVID-19 roundtable talk. He was on our show. I got to know him at a opening of a studio, and we began to talk on that opening about his organization and what his organization was about. Um, I want to bring him on. His name is Zion. Hello, Mr. Zion. How are you?
Hey, Sister Shelly, I'm doing good. How you doing today?
I am doing well. I am doing well. I thank you so much for being back on. I know that we have talked about just getting you on, and we've had you on the show, but it wasn't on our multiple streaming when we were streaming. It was just on the radio. And so this time, people can actually be a part of seeing you, hearing you, and seeing what you are about. The organization is called PASS, Protection Against Search and Seize. Now,
Seizure. That's correct.
Seizure. I'm sorry, search and seizure. Um, I just went to one of your events not too long ago, and I brought my son with me because I wanted him. He's 17, just starting to drive. Thinks that he don't stink, and that everything is grits and gravy. I'm sure like every other 17-year-old right now thinks. And so I wanted to make sure that he heard from me um, how I felt, but I wanted to bring him so he can hear the facts. What we're going to open up, I have a couple of videos. The first video that I have, I wanted to show because it kind of shocked me
Okay.
because it's this little boy that you're interviewing. Tell us a little bit about this video.
Well, actually, it was like impromptu. It wasn't something that was scripted. One day I was sitting down, talking with the young man, and I just decided to, grab the camera and ask a question. And it kind of went from there. So in
Wow.
this video, you will hear, his honest and forthright feeling about law enforcement, just about the climate. And then I found out at another event that I went to called Clippers and Cops in Atlanta. Another young lady, she was 14 years old. Mind, she looked like she was about 9 or 10, but she was 14. And she came in and mirrored the exact expression that the young man did in this video that you're about to see, which allowed me to understand that this is how young people feel, across the country. And I'm not grouping all young folks into that category, but it just showed me P's not the only one that feels that way. For her to come in and say the exact same things, that he was saying in this video. So it just expressed to me an even greater need, to give
Mm-hmm.
our children a sense of security and protection.
Okay. So we're gonna watch this video, you guys, and I'm going to honestly let you know it made me just so it disturbed me. But I want you guys to understand why it disturbed me, and you'll probably be disturbed after you watch it. Here we go.
Now, I'm going to say a word. Now, I'm going to say a word. And I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to mind when you hear that word. Police.
Police brutality.
Okay. Now, why does police brutality come to mind when you hear the word police?
Because every day on the news and on the internet, I see police officers beating a black male, shooting a black male, or tasing a black male.
Okay. Now, how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel unsafe doing anything, walking out of my house, riding in a car with somebody, or walking down the street and walking to the store.
Okay. What would you like to see done?
I would like to see the law enforcement officers that is committing police brutality be prosecuted, and I would like to see people come together to help stop police brutality.
I told you guys that it would disturb you. And the reason why it disturbed me is because that baby, his innocence is taken away because of his fear of the one thing that should be protecting him, or the people, the type of people that should be protecting him, and that is the police. Now, another video of the lady, and I'm not sure how many have seen this video of her son getting shot multiple times. Tell us a little bit about this video. I forgot where she is describing how the police officer shot her son.
Which video are we
You know which one I'm
speaking
talking
about?
about?
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna show her video and then we're gonna talk about it afterwards. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
My son was shot over 50 times. He had a total of 76 bullet wounds to his body. You heard me correctly. He had a total of 76 bullet wounds to his body. He was shot 6 times in the palm of his right hand, 5 times in the palm of his left hand, all down his arms, his torso, his thighs, his groin, his shins, his feet. So imagine just being there at the house all alone. He was shot. Somebody stood over him and shot down into his body 3 times. After that, they handcuffed him and drug him down the flight of stairs, where they dropped his body in her living room, which he laid there for over 8 hours with no medical aid rendered. My son's story never made world news or national news, but the inhumane way in which he was executed will make history. And basically what justice looked like to me for Jamarian Robinson is making his name a household name. I want everyone to know the name of Jamarian Robinson and what happened to him.
Now I can respond. So
Okay, go respond.
okay, so that was Monteria Robinson, and her son was shot by the police. Actually, they say 76, but in truth, they stopped counting at 76. It was also a case of mistaken identity. Now, you may say, what do you mean mistaken identity? Well, they showed on the scene, they showed a picture of who they were actually looking for. And the family said, that's not, our relative, right there. And they requested a picture of the relative. And when one of the family members retrieved the picture and gave it to law enforcement, somehow it reached the news, and the spin was Atlanta man had a shootout with the police. So it was almost as if, to cover their tracks, they had to make it as if this guy, pulled a gun, on them. And, this is why they did what they did. So right now, this is still an open case. And, they're pretty much trying to cover their tracks with respect to, saying, no, it isn't, a cover up. Now, granted, Jamarian had some issues, with his mom and his mental illness, and his mother, had called law
Right.
enforcement at one point in time to get assistance, for him with the mental illness. But unfortunately, like now today, you just get really negative and or bad results calling law enforcement. First of all, we shouldn't be calling law enforcement when it comes to mental health issues anyway. This is why
Right.
the concept of defunding police is such a popular concept. And with respect to how you reallocate monies within these budgets to actually handle issues that are necessary within our communities.
Right. So the case is still going on right now.
That one is still going on, and yeah, she's having a really tough and a difficult time with it because these agencies, they've done a great job at protecting the corruption, that they do. And this is a part of our work is putting information out there that allow us to understand how to stop the corruption.
Right.
So they use the law to their advantage because they know a majority of us, one, don't understand it. Two, it's like we have to go to them in order to get resolved. And to me, the person that causes the problem, if you have to go to them to, get resolved, it's like that just really doesn't work, has never worked. So we're trying to allow folks to understand another way with respect to how we can do
Right.
and deal with policing to get results. And I mean real results, because right now we're really not getting results. We're getting symbolic victories. When you see something such as the Breonna Taylor bill, that's a symbolic victory. It looks good, it sounds nice, but guys, nothing is changing. You have the police accountability bill. I mean, yeah, these are just symbolic victories.
So I remember in the event that you were having, one of the things that really hit me was that nothing is going to change until the laws change. Now, let me ask you a question. Is the Constitution made for Black people, and does it work for Black folks?
The Constitution is definitely beneficial to our people. And it's an antiquated thought or concept that, because when it was written, we may have been in a disfortunate place. They feel like it doesn't apply to us, but it's just not true. And now today, we have access. The issue is comprehension. The issue is, understanding how to benefit. And these are some of the things with our program and with our concept we highlight. It's like, if you're talking about rights, but you can't understand how to gain the benefit and privilege, and you just can't see it as a tangible thing, it doesn't make sense. But to answer your question, the Constitution does work. It worked for me. It still works for me. So yes, it can work for you and your family as well.
Okay, so how do in the case of, in all these cases, especially with how do you feel about what? I have so many questions, and my mind is just going so fast.
Just give me one.
So, regarding the riots and the protesting that is going on right now, what You know, I have my own opinion about the riots. I have my own opinion about the protests. But the one thing that I keep thinking about, with one of these young people get arrested, what is, can you talk to us about that a little bit, about what because you had made a lot of, like you said, when someone, you get pulled over, you don't have to even give them their driver's license. I never knew that. You don't have to, they're going to ask you for your name, but how we go into, or let me tell you what happened or where I was going, that they don't have a right to ask that, but they
Well,
go ahead
let's
and
back up. They do have a right to ask it, but you're not obligated to answer. That's, that's the key. And let me really clarify what you're saying, because I don't want anyone to feel like what we're presenting is, a strong opinion.
right,
We say to folks, you cannot impact or change policing, first of all, if you do not know what guides policing. So to us, it just doesn't make sense that we have all these people out here saying they want change and they want something done. But when you ask them about the first principles with respect to what guide policing, they can't tell you, these things. So when we talk about a police officer stopping someone on the street, let's understand that the first thing within our education we go to is we have to identify what type of stop that is. So now we can understand what rules apply. And to us, this is important, because if you don't know the rule, then how can you expect to be effective? And we like to say, with a number of us, we know the rules to Uno, backgammon, spades, checker, football, baseball, anything we get into, it's like we know the rules to it. But when it comes to policing, it's one of those things that we just have not been equipped to understand. So when you talk about a police officer stopping you based on an investigative stop, we deal with.
okay, so wait right there. What is, because see, this is what I learned. What is an investigative stop? And when you're either driving or walking, this can happen. But what is an investigative stop?
Okay, so but let me try to go back and set the foundation for why we can even talk about the investigative stop. I want to first explain what guides policing. And this is what I says, if we don't know what guide policing, then we won't even understand how to deal with the investigative stop. So the foundation, and this comes from the Justice Department. So the Justice Department has a branch called Community Oriented Policing Services. They're responsible for all policing procedure, policy, etc. So if they say it, then there's the gospel to it as it pertains to policing. So a lot of our issues, we have to go and deal directly with community-oriented policing services. I know we've been told to talk to the chief and this one and that one, but we got to deal with the head. So they said the thing that guides policing is, one, the Constitution. So I had to break that down to say, yes, the Constitution, but in dealing with policing, we're talking about the Fourth Amendment. So then they said it's based on Supreme Court cases. So then that takes us to case law. So the thing that guides policing is the Constitution and case law, right? So now when you talk about an investigative stop, the way we had to understand it is we had to follow the same protocol that they follow when they're creating policy and procedures. So we went into case law and we saw that there is the investigative stop. Now we can look at the difference, because there are multiple types of stops, but we focus on investigative versus custodial. Custodial means they have the warrant, they know who you are, you're under arrest. That's a different ball game. We don't really focus on that. We focus on the investigative stop, because that's 99% of the stops that happen out here on the street. Now, an investigative stop has many names. A technical arrest is an investigative stop. A Terry stop is an investigative stop. being detained, that's an investigative stop. What's another one? I guess I can stop right there. But the investigative stop, the routine traffic stop is an investigative stop. So go ahead.
So with I know that you had said with, they I don't know if they passed this law, but I heard about the law that even if you're walking down the street, they can do an investigative stop based on that you look like somebody. Or so with the protesting that is going on, if you are protesting and you are following the rules of protesting, that you are following the laws, you're in the guidelines of the laws, and you're doing what the law is saying that you're doing, which I don't know if there's, are there like per se protesting laws?
Well, let me kind of go at it this way, because you were getting to the point of you just walking down the street. First of all, you could be minding your business and the police pull up on you and they say, we got a call, or you look like a suspect, right? Because they can't just arbitrarily run up on people, although they do and they have done it. That doesn't make it right. It's how how you combat that is the way to go. But when they come up and they say, we got a call, or you look like a suspect, at that point, you have to understand that by law, they have just announced that they're doing an investigation. This is where you come to understand, according to case law, according to what guides policing, you're only obligated to identify yourself. The problem is we think identifying ourselves means going into our pocket and pulling out a government issued ID, but case law says, and the policy and procedure says, all you have to do, your statutory obligation is to disclose your name. My name is Michael Brown. And at that point, you're not obligated to do anything else. Right? So he can ask all the questions he want to ask you, but you're not obligated. Now, the key is when he says, I'm doing an investigation, or I got a call, it's now your responsibility to let the officer know you want to exercise your Fourth Amendment right to be protected from unreasonable, searches and seizures. Now, he might look at you a little bit funny, and he's going to continue, asking these questions. And then you have to say to him, at this point, if I'm a suspect, you got to call. You need to get on the phone, call your dispatch, and whoever, said I look like, or I'm this person, they have to be out here to identify me. Now, law enforcement has a certain amount of time to meet your request, or they have to let you go. If they hold you longer than that specific or specified amount of time, it will then become a unreasonable seizure. So it's for us to understand these boundaries, these parameters. It's for us to understand how the Fourth Amendment is truly the best defense against their fast-moving offense. Because when they come, we just feel helpless. But when you talk about Supreme Court cases, a lot of folks think that, and I'm saying this right here, a lot of folks think because I talk about rights, they think I'm anti-government. And, that I have something against the government, but I'm like, well,
right.
I don't. But my point is, if you think I am anti-government because I talk about rights, I said, well, then you have to think the Supreme Court is anti-government, because the Supreme Court was the one that said, use your right against the government. So this is a part of the whole push, or getting people to understand the right is the only thing that can paralyze certain functions within government. Furthermore, we say we have a police problem, but we have not been taught or told that the Fourth Amendment in part was created to deal with abuses of police power on the street. So I say to folks, if that's the case, we have to explore it more. And this is why it's the centerpiece, of our discussion and or program, because that's the thing that's supposed to be used to control policing. So why
Wow.
don't we understand and or know more about it? I say to folks, it's by design. Because
So
go ahead.
let me ask you a question. So the young lady that got shot in her house, forgive me for
Her
not
son,
having.
her son that got shot.
No, I'm talking about the young lady that got shot in her house. They just came in her house and they shot her. And they have her picture everywhere. Her name escapes me right now, and I apologize. But
Rihanna?
the
Rihanna?
yes.
Okay.
So the police officers got completely off.
Right.
So I mean, I don't understand that. I don't
Yeah.
understand that.
We should not have to understand these types of things. And this is why we're trying to rally people around the Fourth Amendment so that we have a separate wall of protection from what's already out there. Now, you have all of these committees, advisory boards, all of these things are a part of the agency or the government, or they're controlled, so they're never going to give us the type of assistance that we want when it comes to how law enforcement deal with the public. So let's look at this. There's something in law called the power of assumption, and
Okay.
what the agency does is they assume. And this is what's so crazy. And I say to folks, we really have to get involved and remove this thing called the power of assumption, because it allows them to function in error and then be excused. So the power of assumption, or how they use it on the street, is they assume, that you're someone that's subjugated to their rule. They don't even give you the benefit that you're a citizen. Off the jump, they consider you to be a resident of the state. Now, some folks have not come to understand even what that term means, but I'll be in
Yeah,
a
I don't
room full
understand.
of
What do
people.
you mean that they assume that you are a resident of the state? What is that?
Yeah,
What does that
and
mean?
really it's not what I mean, because you can go into OCGA, yeah, the official code of Georgia, and they tell you, they say after 30 days, we assume that you are a resident of the state. Now, the problem is you've never agreed to it. You didn't even know that happened, but yet and still you can ask a lot of people, are you a resident of the state? And their hand will go up and they'll say yes. And then you'll ask them what that means, but they can't really qualify, what that means. But when they classify you as the resident of the state, it now gives them a certain cause and or dominion over you because of the status. Because you got to remember, all the court cases we look at, they consider us citizens of the United States. So how
So
we
being a let me no, okay, so let me ask you this. I'm sorry to interrupt you. So being a citizen of the United States, or being a citizen of the state that you're in, does that not mean that you're a resident of the state?
no, the resident of the state is an engineered term. These things were created, once the administrative doctrine came into play. Basically, they had to find a way to use administrative law, or what they call the color of law,
The
to
color.
maintain, rule, and or regulate people. But it's all based on the assumption. And I'm not making this stuff up. I got letters from attorney generals talking to House representatives where they're admitting, or they say, hey, we just want you to know off the jump, we're just assuming that everything is correct. And I said, now, where in the world do we operate under an assumption and it's okay? But that's the
That's so
blanket.
true.
That's the
Let me
blanket that they use to
let me
protect
take
themselves out there in the streets.
let me take a little break. And I want to let everyone know and thank everyone for listening to Inspiration 98.7, The Way Christian Talk. I appreciate you guys for listening in. Please, if you have any questions, I want to make sure that everyone has a chance, because I know I'm not the only one that cringes when I get pulled over, that cringes when my son drives, that cringes when my husband drives, that cringes just to think about our youth, and to think about our men, in especially African American men. They cringe. If you guys have any questions and please call in if you have any questions for Zion. You can call in if you are on the radio. You can call in at 605-313-5147, extension 439112. 603-313-5147, extension 439112. We are here on Inspiration 98.7. You can find us on Inspiration 98.7.airtime.pro. Please, I thank you guys for listening on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. Please share this. This information is information that we need in a time like this. We have a lot of things that are going on. We have a lot of it's a little bit crazy when it comes to police officers, and it's a little bit crazy when it comes to our young men and our young women. I've seen videos of teenage girls being slammed on the ground. You know, I know that they've talked and they have mouths, but they never put their hands on a police officer. Let me ask you a question. That leads to my next question. We are on Facebook, on Instagram 987 on Facebook. Please come in and join our Facebook page. You can listen on Instagram on Inspiration 98.7.airtime.pro. Inspiration 98.7.airtime.pro. Come in and listen. Please give us a call if you have any questions on Facebook, on our social media world. If you have any questions, all you do is have to make a comment in the comments. Please, 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 please share this. This is information that is out here to help us all. It's information that's out here that's giving us the knowledge of what we can actually do. What is our side? What is our law for us? So Zion, I thank you so much for being here. I have a question. So the thing is that you talk about PASS. PASS is an organization, and tell us a little bit. You've told me how you started this. Tell us how you began PASS.
So PASS was something that came into play in 2014. Mike Brown, I mean, this is when everything really got started. But what I saw was reporters were chasing down protesters, and they would shove the mic in their face and they'll ask them, what do they want? And they'll say justice. And it's like nobody could really articulate what needed to be done. They'll say accountability, but they couldn't like qualify like how accountability should be played out. So I was compelled from that point to then look at certain things to see if anything made sense to me. And by the grace of our Creator, you know, there lied the solution, talking about constitutional policing, which is now the buzzword through 21st century policing and the 6 pillars of U.S. policing. So I just started going into that, having a background in studying constitutional law several years before that. Things just started clicking, you know, for me. And then I just started realizing that the Creator was using me and building me to deliver this message. So it's not that, you know, I'm so smart, I'm so unique or anything of that nature. It's just that the Creator saw, you know, fit to, you know, to give me this message. So my point in creating PASS was to define and spell out to where people could articulate how we could effectively change the culture of policing in America. Okay.
So you had said that at one time that the police agency or someone in the police enforcement had asked you to actually come and train or do a training for the police. Has that happened?
No, actually, what I said was originally I was looking to create better training for law enforcement. And
Okay.
in the process of me doing that, another officer, he kind of said to me, what difference would it make, if the people don't know? And when he
Mm,
said that, it kind of clicked for me, and I shift and or changed, my whole direction, from that point. Now, mind you, um, this it kind of coincided with things happening with Mike Brown and that happening in 2014. And again, this is where I just started realizing that the creator had already set me, on this path. But I realized we were the ones who were suffering from understanding. So I started building the program to whereby we could have the same knowledge and understanding that the agency and the law enforcement has. How
okay.
else can we bridge the gap of information between police and people if we're not identifying what the information is that we need to bridge? I mean,
Right.
to me, it's like people are using these broad terms. Like they'll throw it out there. We're going to bridge the gap of information between. It's like, okay, what information are we talking about? Right?
Right.
And until we can actually identify that information, which we have done that at past protection against search and seizure, we've done that exact thing. And this is why our program is distinguished and or different than any other program out there, because we deal with what guides policing. It's like you can't change it unless you understand how it works, period.
So on your website, I know that hopefully people will go to your website. I have your website up. They will go to your website and they will be able to see the information that you are talking about. How do we change the culture of policing?
Okay. Well, changing the culture of policing. This also goes into understanding that this is years of custom, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
policing custom as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to say, simply put, we can't change it, one, until we understand it, and
Okay.
two, until we allow ourselves to be educated. First of all, it's like
Okay.
we have a hard time trying to learn new things, but we have to understand the culture of policing is not going to change unless we take an invested interest in it changing, because the agency and the officials have no desire to change it. If they did, it would have been fixed a long time ago. So
Mm.
until we come to the point of being educated, and I go back to what guys policing, then we can't look to see how we can effectively change it. Otherwise, we're just emotionally charged. And I like to say to folks that, policing is not governed by our emotions.
And it's not governed by emotions. Now, I just interviewed one of your partners, Amazing Alice. I just interviewed her. And so I'm going to bring her on because I know that you guys actually, hello again, Amazing Alice.
Hey, what's going on?
I
What's
know
up,
that,
Doc?
What's going on?
so I know that both of you have, that you guys work closely together to bridge the gap of community and education. And so tell us a little bit about how you guys got to know each other. What are some of the upcoming events that you guys have? Give us some information about that.
All right. Well, with me, I was out one day and just journaling as I do a number of days, and I was downtown. This was at the height of the riots. I was also in the middle of filming a documentary, and I'm just going down the street, and there's this little 5 foot, you know, sister out there, and she really was getting at it, with somebody. So I'm listening, really. And I saw the passion, with her. And we just we talked then, we exchanged information, there. And we've just been in communication with each other from that point, so much that, we did our first event together back in October the 3rd. And, we're looking forward to doing more events here in the future. But our connection, is genuine. And I want to say this while I have the time to say it. I've encountered a lot of people out here that, they talk good in the face of the public. I promise you they talk good. Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But Alice was one of the first people that actually stepped up and followed through, with what she said. And that was rather impressive to me because, I'll just stop, right there. And I'll say she was just one of the people, that actually stood and was like, okay, bro, let's do it. This is how we're going to do it. And we made it happen.
Okay. I know, Amazing Alice, we just got through talking about all of the things that you have done in your organization. How has it been for you working with Paz and Zion?
It's can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, so it's excellent. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I believe in what he's doing. Because what he's doing is necessary. It's educating us on our constitutional rights. And not just police brutality, but our 10th Amendment right is the right to have affordable health care.
Right.
And we have people going to court to take away affordable health care. So if we are not educated to understand what our constitutional rights are, how can we stand up for what we believe in? You have to know what it is. So it's all about educating. So that's why we want to open up a school, and not just open up a school just like any other school. Is going to be doing things that nobody is doing. One, we're going to all be learning, having curriculums on our Constitution. You're going to be
the one Constitution I think that everybody remembers, and the only Constitution that I remember
Freedom of speech
is the Fifth Amendment.
Oh, okay.
I ain't got to say nothing. I ain't saying nothing. I'm being quiet. I want my lawyer. It's the Fifth Amendment and the freedom of speech. Those are the two ones that everybody uses. But we and I'm not going to say we.
Shelley, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Why is it when you invoke your Fifth Amendment, do people feel you must be guilty?
Well, because that's what that's the first thing that you do jump to when you say,
wait a minute. This is what I'm saying is we have like demonized or criminalized an individual when they do a simple thing such as exercising a right. And it's like we kind of reinforce these things. And this is the mindset that I'm saying that they've done to us, which why we're in the situation we're in, because we think if you exercise your right, you got something to hide. Right. It could be the Fifth Amendment, the Fourth Amendment. It's like when you get into that, it's like, you know what? Let me not even do this. But that is the very thing that will protect you. As the Supreme Court said, you got to use your right against the government because we can't help you. If you don't use your right, you're done.
You're done.
You're done.
Well, I appreciate both of you guys coming on. And Amazing Alice, I thank you so much for, I have taken up a lot of your time this afternoon. And I appreciate you being so patient off the air. And so I really do appreciate that. Okay. Do you guys have another event coming up?
Yes, we do. So on the 21st of November, we're going to do one every month. There's not a month that's going to go by that we're not going to do something.
Now, let me ask you a question. Is this going to be a house of divine hope and Paz, or is this the 21st? Is this going to be the house of divine hope?
Well, since we couldn't get together because of our schedules, this one is going to be the house of divine hope.
Okay.
because it's just an open forum for people to come and speak and tell us their pain. Bring us your pain about the stories about your being in any type of domestic violence relationship. It doesn't always have to be. People think that domestic violence is only in a relationship with a significant other, but domestic violence is anything that is domestic, that is violent to you. So it could be a job, it could be, you was in an organization and you got mistreated. You could be church hurt. We just want people to bring their pain so they can at least have a place to vent. And when you tell your story, people get saved by other people's stories because they realize they're not suffering by themselves. And now you have a place of support. But once you tell your story, now we can come and
right. I think people get help by seeing that they're not the only one that's going through it or the only one that has went through it, and that allows them that healing process to begin. And that allows them to save themselves out of the situations they're in, because that's where you have. Now, Zion, what is the next event that you have coming up?
Okay. We're working on an event with House of Divine Hope coming up soon. We do have an event January the 9th. It's going to be online. It's going to be a Zoom where we invite people to come in and see the presentation that you saw. And if they follow us on Instagram at Passes Leading the Way, we'll have the flyer and things posted up for that event so that you can get the information. In fact, I think if you go to allevents.in, and when you go to the search, if you type in Changing the Culture of Policing in America, it should take you to our event for January the 9th.
Okay.
I know that's a lot, guys. I'm sorry I don't have the website and all that to put up there for you, but
they can definitely check on your Instagram and find it, right?
If you follow us on Instagram, we're definitely going to post it there. But if you wanted to Google allevents.in, and like I said, just do a search, Changing the Culture of Policing in America, and your search has to be for Georgia, because their platform is international. So make sure you're searching within Georgia. You'll find it.
Okay. Amazing, Alice. Thank you so much for being with us again. I appreciate, again, your patience. I appreciate for what you're doing in the community for the youth and for the community itself. It needs a lot of, we need support. We need to be able to support one another, and we need to be able to find support. So your next event is going to be on November the 21st, and it's going to be at, I had the address.
659 Larkin Street.
659 Larkin Street. It's going to be at 659 Larkin Street on November the 20th. At what time does it begin?
From 6 p.m. to 10 p.m.
From 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. All right. I thank you so much. And I thank you for being on our show. All right. So we're going to talk to you a little bit later. And if I can make that event, I will. I'm going to try. I know that's close to Thanksgiving. Are any of you guys, do you guys have any kind of special plans for Thanksgiving?
You want to go first?
Either one of you?
I really don't have any special plans. My grandmother is 95. And so I want to start going back to New York as much as I can to see her while she is still able to be here. They said she had dementia. So usually when I call her, she's brought to so much joy. But this time when I called her, she's literally was crying. So I need to go, and that's why I'm trying to have it on the 21st so I can go home.
What is your grandmother's name?
Her name is Celie McLean.
Celie. Ooh, that's an old name. That's yes. We will. The Way Christian Talk will definitely be praying for your grandmother.
I appreciate it.
So and be praying for you.
Let me just get this out. My grandmother is 95, right? She's outlived 6 of her children out of 13. My mother being one of them. But the most important part about her is that's the closest to Jesus that I could ever get, because she never smoked, she never drank, never cursed. Like, everything about my grandmother is so pure. And the way she
Wow.
loves me is love unconditional. And that's what motivates me and inspires me to be who I am, because where I come from.
Well, that's awesome. We will
So
be
thank
praying
you.
for your grandmother.
I
I'll be
appreciate it.
safe travels.
Yeah,
You
because she's
have
attacking my
a
family.
yeah, well, that's what happens when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You have a blessed trip, and I'll be
And
praying for you
I
and your
appreciate
family.
it. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
for being on the Way Christian Talk Show.
And
Hey,
thanks for having
Alice,
me. Yes, sir.
we love you, baby.
I love you back. Call me.
All right.
Okay, so we only have a few more minutes that we are going to be on the show. I thank you for being a part of the Way. I thank you for giving education to our community, and definitely for our youth. I appreciate that, and I use. You don't know how much I use you when it comes to my son. You know, Zion said, if you don't do this, you can stop. Zion said. And so I appreciate that you have educated me that I can talk law to him, that I can talk law. He has, we had a situation that happened. He got pulled over. And so we have our first, hopefully, prayerfully only court case on the 11th. And so when we go in, just give me the most important pointer.
You know, Shelly, I cannot do that because I'm not an attorney.
Okay.
And and because I do not know the circumstances, surrounding your son's case, so I don't want to mislead you, in
And
any
I
way.
appreciate
That scenario is done. Our program is based on being proactive. What we focus on is how not to get in those situations, right? Our organization we're building so that individuals know that they have protection, because right now that's what we need or want from, we need protection from the police. And the entities that are out there have not provided, they have failed to provide us that, including our government. So we're positioning ourselves to specialize in that now. What we have to do is get people empowered to the point to where they realize, oh my goodness, you're not just talking out the side of your neck or off the top of your head. You're trying to give us the thing within law that we're supposed to be using, or these entities or agencies that should be using to protect us. It's like, wow, we have to now embolden ourselves to have that protection. So that's what protection against search and seizure is really all about. And basically, we're saying we can stop this at the point of the stop, because if it goes past the point, of the stop, then it could definitely turn into something else. So a lot of what we're doing now says what's in place is already in place. We may have to create new cases to create the precedent because it's not available, right now. And we would expect for our government to provide justice and say, you know what, we were wrong, let's fix this. But they're making so much money. They're looking to continue operating in error as long as people are ignorant, to what's actually supposed to be happening. Now, this is why I say when we know the rule, we can come in and check them. When we know where they're limited. And that's what we focus on based on what the court cases say. The court cases say they have been empowered and there's an expansion to the power, but then there's an underlying factor is what the limitation is. And I said, well, how come no one has ever explored the limitation? When you get into them limitations, that's when you see that they are super restricted with respect to what they can do. But because we don't know the restrictions, this is where what the officer said to me, he said, if the people don't know what difference is it going to make come into play? because we can't distinguish what they are or are not doing out there on the street. And then we injure ourselves because we don't know what our statutory obligation is, which basically says we can stop at this point, meaning here's what we do have to do in this scenario.
Right.
And here's what we don't have to do. And then I don't have to be afraid, of, well, is the officer going to do this and will he adhere to that? Because then it's outside the scope of his power. And
Right.
should he overstep his bound, there's a different set of rules. Now, you got folks saying, oh, they overstep their bounds all the time. Yes, they do. But the issue is, by us not understanding how to protect ourselves, it's as if under the assumption we've agreed to it. That's the
Right.
problem. We don't understand the assumption. They are assuming all of this stuff.
And that is so true. Zion, I appreciate you are so passionate about this, and I appreciate the fact that you are so passionate and that you are. It's a conviction of yours, and I can tell that it is. I thank you so much for being on our show. We just don't have enough time to go over all the information that we
January
need to go
9th.
over. January 9th.
I'll get you that online information. That's Zoom.
That will be on your Instagram. Pass is leading the way on your Instagram. Please, you guys, go on his Instagram. It's going to be January the 9th. And we are going to, it's important for everyone to learn their rights. Zion, I thank you, my friend, for just doing what you do. Just doing what you do.
Christian Talk, we appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I know this is not going to be the last time. It won't be. It will have many, many discussions, and hopefully, I'll be able to talk to you about your event on the 9th, and maybe we can see what the Way Christian Talk can do in covering it and see how it goes. So, everybody, go on Instagram. Passing is leading the way, and
Pass is leading the way.
Pass is leading the way. Those words, it gets me kind of confused a little bit. And so I want you guys, but thank you so much, Zion, for being on the Way Christian Talk. I appreciate you. This is not the last time that I'm sure that we're going to see each other. I think that, as Christians, sometimes we just think that we can pray our way out of everything, but we have to understand that God gives us people in our path to give us wisdom and knowledge and understanding of what is going on so we can make the right decisions, because the Bible does say that we have to follow the law of the land. And if we don't know the law of the land, then we get ourselves in trouble.
That's what we're talking about.
I appreciate you. I see you next time, my friend, and thank you for being with us.
You're more than welcome. You guys be great. Thank you for having us. The Way Christian Talk. We love you.
We love you too. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. We are at the end of our show. We have about 2 more minutes to go. I am grateful that whoever has come on and has got this information, please go through it again. It's great information. Please go on the Instagram and on Pass is leading the way on Instagram, and also the website iwantpass.org. I thank you. From the Way thanks you for being a listener and for being a supporter. If this program has encouraged you in any kind of way, if this program has given you wisdom and knowledge tonight, if we have helped you in any kind of way, please continue to support the Way Christian Talk Show. You can monetarily give any amount. I don't even care if it's $1. You can monetarily give any amount that is on your heart and that you feel that you can help. And so we can get this word, not only the word for the law, but also the word of spreading the gospel. So thank you so much for being on the Way. Inspiration 98.7 listeners, you are the bomb. You are the bomb. And I thank you so much for being on Inspiration 98.7 and listening to Shelly LJ on the Way. I will see you guys next week on Thursday. Please do not miss out. We are going to have an incredible person on our show next week. So I want you guys to tune in next Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on Inspiration 98.7. And you guys can listen to us and come on Inspiration 98.7, Inspiration 98.7.airtime.pro. And you also can follow us on Inspiration 98.7 Facebook. And you can follow me on Inspiration 98. Shelly LJ, The Way Christian Talk, on Facebook. You guys, if you have any prayer requests, please follow me on the website, on the website of The Way Christian Talk Show. You can leave all of your prayer requests, any prayer requests that you have, or any information that you may want to get in touch with me with. I love you guys. Like I say always, you pray for me and I will pray for you. I will see you guys next Thursday at 8 p.m. right here. Inspiration 98.7 listeners, Shelly LJ loves you. You are the heart of my show. Thank you guys so much. Peace.